Hi, I'm Hina Siddiqui, and you are listening to the Corporate Life Podcast. We are in season 3, where every life is a movie and you are the star of yours. So step into the spotlight, the world is watching. There is something powerful about the way some people think. Not louder, not faster, but differently. Jonathan Macdonald is one of those people. In this episode, I sit down with the man behind Potency-world and Social Me Too, a leader, author, and true disruptor, to talk about what it really means to think in non-linear, unexpected ways and why that might just be your greatest advantage. We'll go deep into his life and how every dysfunction, when faced fully, can become a genius gift. He called himself a dyslexic thinker, and I wanted to know what that meant, what it felt like, and how it shaped everything he built. Now, this one's personal, reflective, and unexpectedly powerful. Let's dive in. There's a very standard question when we grow up in India, and that is being asked to the kids, like, what you will become when you grow up. And, when I was growing up in India, most of the kids were not having this idea like what they would become, but then they just had some random thing because they were listening from here and there that, you need to become this or you need to become that, our society. So the most common answer was that I'll become a doctor. So I want to ask you, when you were little, did you think you were going to become when you grew up?
So I've always had, my dad used to call it verbal diarrhea. Now, this is to do with being dyslexic. I didn't know until many years later, but I'm trying to compress up to 18 different visual perspectives in one stream of consciousness. It's almost impossible. But what happens is I go, so I did have a vision of me walking through a courtroom as the barrister, going, I put it to you, sir. Chat element was the thing I was always pretty strong at.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. And I did not have any idea. Sometimes I wanted to be a doctor and sometimes I wanted to be a teacher. So I think I'm more of like a teacher now.
Yeah, but what you're teaching is amazing, isn't it?
Thank you so much. I believe so. And did you think that you were meant to be a disruptor, or did life train you into it?
I didn't know I was disrupting until I found out how my brain worked differently from most. So, as it turns out, when you use the term neurodivergent, way down the scale, it's like, the deep dyslexia. And as it turns out, I'm a threat to people because I just do naturally it's obvious to me, but it's not to other people. I didn't know I was disrupting. And then I found out, that's where it was, found out how the brain worked, did some experimentation for a year or so and realised that other people, all they do is report to you their perception of reality. So they'll tell you a story that for them is 100% true. And people need that certainty in life, whereas I'm much more direct, I suppose, but direct sounds harsh. Straight to the point, not into bullshit. That is how I disrupt. And that threatens people because most of their experiences with people that aren't like me, so they haven't got anything to measure against.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, so I do disrupt. I didn't do it intentionally at first. It just happens. And now I'm doing it intentionally, which makes it even more powerful.
Yeah, it makes it even more powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You called yourself, I think, dyslexic thinker. And
Indeed.
I love that phrase. But I want to hear from you that what does it mean exactly in your world? And how does your mind work differently? You just touched base upon it a few seconds ago. And how has that shaped your life? How it shaped the way you looked at life?
So, as I say, until pretty late, I didn't have awareness that I had any sort of learning disability. And it was only when I was trying to teach children who were obviously dyslexic how to spell. Because I could see it and go, well, yeah, that's your problem. Whereas the school said, oh, no, they've got their disruptive behaviour. And you go, if you can't interact with the world because everything written down is foreign to you, at 14, the only way you got out of that situation is through acting out, however that manifests. But that's the situation. So that school, I was volunteering, they threw me out for, and this is a word in teaching, trying to change their pedagogy. And I looked at that, and that sent me into such a spiraling depression that I realized that most people are just going through the motions.
Yeah. How does that affect your mission, and how do you see at life differently as a dyslexic thinker?
That was the thing, yeah. So this is from a book called The Gift of Dyslexia. Now, I'm reading this book 3 years after publishing my own book, where it's like a journal, my book. I talk about how my brain is rebuilding itself. And I didn't, number one, understand that most people can't see themselves in my head, and they're always there. And I just wrote about it, just didn't even think about it. Then The Gift of Dyslexia, the book, says the mental function that causes dyslexia is a gift in the truest sense of the word, a natural ability, a talent. It is something special that enhances the individual. Dyslexics don't all develop the same gifts, but they do have certain mental functions in common. Here, the basic abilities all dyslexics share. They can utilize the brain's ability to alter and create perception, the primary ability. They're highly aware of the environment. They're more curious than average. They think mainly in pictures instead of words. They're highly intuitive and insightful. They think and perceive multidimensionally, using all the senses. They can experience thought as a reality, and they have vivid imagination. That sums me up to a T. So I read that and went, because I've written down like exactly what it said, those things. Inside my head, my ideas exist as entire universes of their own. So the experiment, I don't know, it's like quantum computing, maybe.
Yeah. And I believe that every dysfunction or so-called limitation comes with its own kind of superpower or advantage. So what's that been for you?
I've had numerous life-changing events. Part of that is a difficulty with sleep. So I have a sleep routine. I wear a sleep mask. So I do this advanced driving, and it's a 5-step process that as you're driving and you notice something, you run through this 5-step process. So my mind goes 8. So when I'm driving, usually 8 spheres. One off to the top right, one of the tyre and the road, one of the suspension strut, one from over here, one of the wing mirror and one of the central mirror, but I'm looking at them all at once. And then so I thought about this the other day. In a mile, using this system, you'll have probably made 20 conscious decisions based on evaluation of the situation. And as a result, I can perceive risk. I can make decisions. People are paralyzed by wanting to be perfect already.
Yeah.
Just don't work that way.
Yes.
So it's given me, dyslexia itself and the way my life has unfolded has given me a tremendous resilience, and it's given me awareness of how fast I think and how prepared I am to change.
Yeah. And I also believe that the way we have been conditioned by our parents, by the society, and with all the circumstances, the modern age, the advertisement, the marketing, the messages and everything. Yeah. And our minds are manipulated and filled with lots of garbage that we need to just, let go of. And for you, it's been a huge advantage that you don't really need to process that kind of information, that garbage that constantly filling our minds.
Well, as you know, I don't have a smartphone. So I've got a phone. It won't show up on here, but it has the buttons where you have to press 1111 to get C. So I don't like texting. I can't receive any junk mail. Scroll and scroll and scroll.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to.
Yeah.
I've dealt with addiction. You're going to come on to this, but I've dealt with addiction of various things over the years, and I recognize it. So I see people in cars that have got Bluetooth because they're new, decent cars, but the drivers are still using the handset. So it's not even about the information. It's about this pacifier where you can get away from where you are by staring into a screen.
Yeah.
And so people have become little upset babies that they can't deal with anything.
Yeah.
And they're not very present.
Yeah.
I had lunch with a friend who came to visit me in hospital when I broke my ankle. She and her friend drove up from Dover to see me. Now, in terms of your perspective, it's not a lot, I suppose, 150 miles. But it's a lot for someone you only met on Zoom. She came to visit me, really nice, made me feel very happy. So I went down to them and had lunch as a repayment.
This is interesting because the modern age problems are that we are absent in our bodies. We are always in our minds. We are operating on the information that we are taking from the outside rather than operating from our intuition, and which you already have as an advantage. So don't you think it's an unfair advantage for you?
So looking at the current most rich people in the world, you can tell they're not very happy because they have to do these ridiculous things, build spacecraft and things like that to fill this void in their lives. So if I were one of those types of people, I would have an unfair advantage in the marketplace. What I'm doing, though, is I'm creating change multiple levels. And although I will be paid for it, it's not an IPO. It's not a the notional value of shares in your company. It's a thing I'm doing, and that's it. So I don't think it's unfair in that context because I'm using it for something. Whilst not philanthropic, I'll be paid. It's not about the money. The money is only important as a indicator to your investor as to what you value yourself as. So
yeah, let's talk about the mindset, because as we just were talking about your unfair advantage that you have already got that lots of people don't have. So now about the mindset, because we work a lot on mindset because, we have learned some beliefs which are affecting us negatively, the kind of habits that we have formed, So where do you stand in terms of that, Like, did you ever learn a kind of mindset that harmed you?
So mindset, the term, is a reference to Carol Dweck and research into mindset. Basically, it is relevant to the conversation. I had a motorcycle accident 29 years ago. I lost the use of my upper right side. So my arms completely just paralyzed, chest, back, everything, shoulder. Then I broke the other wrist and had to have some nerves. So I can't feel the tips of my fingers in the one hand I have got. So I can't pick up bits of paper. I have to slide things to the edge of tables. Now, if I lost my shit every day from those things, I would be an uncontrollable maniac. What you do when you have to is you learn patience. You learn resilience. You learn problem solving, understanding people. So for many years, I had my arm in a sling in front of my body, like that. It's like a sling. And every single person that met me for the first time went, "Oh, what's that? What happened to the other guy?" And I didn't go, "Oh, don't you understand? I'm disabled. I'm going to be paralyzed for life. You're inconsiderate." No. I went, "Oh, this guy is trying to create an engagement." So as a result of thinking where I'm making lots and lots of decisions based on information, when it comes to social aspects and emotional intelligence.
Yeah. And that makes you more grateful too.
Very, very. I'm amazed at how lucky I am.
Yeah. So it's interesting to hear that from you, because I know a lot of people who have everything the society calls perfect, healthy, normal, and they are so ungrateful. They are so much miserable in their lives, and they have nothing to appreciate, I guess. Like, I see those kind of people all the time around. So it's very interesting that you having such so-called limitations by the society and you feel so grateful about it. This is such a huge, beautiful advantage of being dyslexic.
Dyslexic, yes. Pushed to experiment, yes. I mean, I wouldn't have learned how to use two hands. I don't know who I'd be if I hadn't had the experiences I've had in life.
Yeah.
And whilst it is totally a first world problem, the problems I've had, like never in a war zone or a famine or a drought or any kind of struggle. So, if you're not grateful for that, then you are very, very unaware.
Yes.
Just an awareness. So when you have it all and you realize that it all doesn't mean anything, then there's a great book by an author called Robert Greene. Green has got an E on the end, so it's Greene. And he wrote various books, including one called Mastery. So what I've been doing for the last 20 years is developing mastery at what I'm now delivering.
Yeah.
And as a result of being incredibly grateful, here in England, so I've very briefly known about the arm, paralysed, then fell over, broke the wrist, so you know about the wrist. Mother died on Christmas Eve 2002, and I've had 6 strokes, and I broke my ankle earlier this year. So these things are just events. They didn't all happen at once. Yeah. But the gratitude comes when you have to be washed by someone, when you have to have someone wipe your ass, when you're lying on the roadside and they're cutting your clothes off because you're bleeding out. No amount of things make a difference.
Yes.
And so the gratitude is that because in this country, the UK, there is some help for disabled people. It's not a lot. I'm not in a food bank, but I don't have my hot water on. I don't have my heating on. I use one room at a time. I buy my food and plan 4 months in advance. So what I've developed is in this book, Mastery, he goes, these people that develop mastery learn to live on very little. So that's what I've learned to do.
Wow.
And because it's predictable, my entire neurological state is flat. And from there, I think anyone, given that piece, could do not the same things as me, but their own version of it amazing.
Yeah. And I would like to ask you, why drugs? Like what got you into drug addiction?
So the motorcycle accident is called a brachial plexus. All the nerves that operate the upper right side come out of the spinal column as you lunge forward. So a car pulled out in front of me, lunge forward. I was 23 at the time. And you don't feel the pain at first. So, they were moving my arm at the roadside and I just couldn't feel anything. But at some point, fairly quickly, this incredible, it's like Empire Strikes Back, I think, probably. Where the Emperor is electrocuting Luke Skywalker. That's what it's like. It's just overwhelming. That's what got me into drugs.
Yeah.
So basically, I wanted to be anywhere except inside my own head. I was taking very, very strong medication prescribed to me, so morphine, at doses that today they wouldn't even look at it because they were so high. So I was addicted to morphine. Then I was taking more and more of that, and you become resistant to it. So then I went, listen, I can deal with the pain, but I have to sleep. So I then got addicted to sleeping tablets. And this was all going on in the first few years. The only friend that actually came and took me out of my depressive state in the room was a guy whose call I just rejected. And he and I and another friend from school got into taking drugs. We weren't the right demographic to do heroin or crack. What else is really, really bad? Basically, the sort of drugs that make people commit crimes, They weren't even in my sphere of interest. But your basics: marijuana, cocaine, ecstasy, LSD, alcohol, about those five. Ironically, the fact that it didn't make a difference is the reason why I learned the lesson within 6 years. So every day for 6 years, I was on morphine, enough morphine to kill a small horse, plus all these other drugs every day, working in that state. And the pain is so intense, it just cut through.
Yeah.
So when you finally go, God, bloody hell, nothing is working, I've got to find a way, then you find a way. So the problem that most people face in life is they think that the problem cannot be different from the way it is. When you're forced to find a way, and this is, I think, for someone to take away, it's a Tony Robbins line, if you want to take the island. So if you're a force and you want to take the island, and you get to the island, the phrase goes, if you want to take the island, you've got to burn the fucking boats.
Yeah.
So once you've taken the island, if you still have your boats in port, you're saying to yourself, we might leave. Cut off anything that you distracted by and then focus on that. And so basically my mindset and mental state is that I am purpose driven. So there's a reason.
Yeah. So what that taught you, because I think that everything that comes into our life, every situation, every circumstance, every addiction that we embrace or leave, everything comes into our life to teach us a lesson. So what lesson that addiction taught you?
So I learned that no amount of drugs could stop the pain. I learned what I would have looked like because I moved away from work, and so I wasn't in the company of the friends that were doing it every day. And then I saw those friends when I was kind of stopped. Still smoked marijuana, but a lot of the hard stuff I'd not taken. I saw them on the floor, all sort of like gurning and shaking, and all. I went, holy shit, that's what I used to look like. And then simultaneously, and the reason that I attribute coming away from addiction was in hospitals in the UK, most of them have a hospital radio. So volunteers do this hospital radio for the patients, and they do competitions and whatever they might do. So I'm sitting in the department to have something brace made, and I see this poster, hospital radio volunteer. So I went, oh yeah, okay, let's volunteer. I volunteered, and after a few weeks, I got friendly with this guy called Graham. And he did the adolescent ward. So I think it's the youngest, 4 to 18. Up to 4 is baby ward. So I went around with him a few times, and he would always talk to the children's mothers. I'd look at the children and go, yeah, okay, you see that? Okay, yeah, I see that. And so I started calling him Graham the Housewife's Choice. In that ward, so scoliosis is a bent spine. The way they solve that is they do surgery and strap children up to a point they can barely breathe for 6 to 8 weeks. You've got children with cancers, with limbs being cut off. With one boy, he was 9. He'd been set about by 6 other youths and stabbed 30 times. Oh my God. So if you focus on that, horrific. If you're the horrific, absolutely horrific, I can't even imagine myself. But all the children they are. All this is. And so all they wanted to do was have a good time. Now, I'm a child. I still find farts hysterically funny. I realised that the difference between what the hospital radio station was doing at the moment, which was only getting a bit of engagement, I could do things a lot better. So I rewrote, took over the show, did this intro, set up competitions, recorded comedy, just this crazy up and down and around. interviews with so I go to them, the child, I go, oh, can I nick your parents, your mum or dad for a bit? I go, oh, yeah, okay. I say, I'll bring them back to you, go around the corner, get the parents to record a message, because I became very aware that the parent, when they're with their child, they can't say how much they love them because they're so anxious and frightened and stressed. So you take them out of that and you say, oh, that. So I play those. Joe, I did. I mean, this is the trouble. I am just so much better. Not everything, but if I decide to do a thing, then I do it to the best of my ability. Yeah. And it turns out the best of my ability is measurably different from the majority of other people.
Yeah, I love your podcast, and I keep seeing the clip on LinkedIn, and basically the kind of conversations that you hold up, and with so much ease and, humor and grit. It's very inspiring.
Oh, thank you very much. I've only got 67 subscribers.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. And I think 5 of them are me.
Jonathan, tell me about your love life, heartbreak, relationships. What's been your story there?
Okay, so I am the product of an extramarital affair. My mother was forced to come to the UK, married off at 19, Nigeria, very patriarchal. The man was an idiot. She couldn't get the emotional support she needed, so she met this Spanish guy. I'm the product of that affair, which I'm no judgment at all. She was forced to give me up. You don't remember, some people say they do, but you don't remember being a baby. But basically, she was forced to give me up on day 2. I was adopted month 9. So, I think I worked out 170 days or 178 days, and I'm in a cot staring at the ceiling. I had terrible nappy rash. I wet the bed till I was 5. I remember going to school wearing a nappy. That contributed to the drug addiction as well. And so I have what's called an avoidant attachment style. So I can talk to the prettiest girl. I've had to check myself a few times recently, but when I ask a person if it's okay to talk to them, if it's not, I shut up, because I love deep conversations with anyone. But that avoidant attachment style, basically, when you're young and sexy, it's all about the sex. So, or the physical attraction, And so my first girlfriend was the daughter of, we used to meet with the motorbikes. I had my first girlfriend at 23.
Mm-hmm.
I lost my virginity at 23.
Okay.
Then it was 6 or 7 years, 5 or 6 years, until the next girl. I was still on drugs and alcohol. And I had a desperate crisis of confidence in that I was still earning a lot of money with a company car, and she was a student. And I hate power imbalance. I want the woman to be better than me. Women are better than men, let's be honest. I tearfully broke up with that girl. I ruined the day because she was lovely, really kind, really, just beautiful. I split up with her. Then it was 15 years between Kathy and someone else, and then 18 years. Basically, I've only been in relationships for 2.5 years in a history of 53 years. So I will never approach a woman with sexual intention. I just chat to people. I have been aware of occasionally a woman might invite me over or might help out or something like that. And I'm not sure because I don't notice. I don't know if they're flirting with me or if it's just friendliness.
Yeah. Any heartbreaks?
No. So the girl I was seeing on the motorbike turned out after I'd had the accident, because I was going down to pick her up, she apparently had been cheating on me for 3 months.
Okay.
And it broke my trust in women. And that's why it was so long. But no, because the next girl, that Kathy, that was while I was still doing drugs and alcohol heavily, broke trust more than hearts. And then the last relationship I had was ended in 2009. And she is a PhD, microbiologist, law degree, really fast thinking. She had difficulty in letting go, so a micromanager. She was very abusive about her staff and about people and about the world. But I'm thinking, wow, this woman, she's 10 years older than me as well. This woman's like interested in me, and she's got all this amazing stuff. Longish relationship. I met her father in Trinidad and Tobago. She came out to Australia to see me for 4 days. So she flew for 3 days. No woman has ever shown me that degree of interest. So obviously I thought, oh, well, I should marry you then. Yeah. And I went, you're the high flyer here. I can be the house husband. I'm happy doing that. I'll do your diary. I'll do this, do that, yeah. Anyway, like I said, she's very aggressively violent in her speech about people. And one day she came in and talked to me in the same tone. It turns out my avoidant attachment style means I just don't give a fuck. She went, yeah. I went properly mad for maybe 45 seconds. I slammed the door. I said, who the fuck do you think you are? Yeah. And then went to sleep on the couch. 4 o'clock in the morning, she wakes me up and she goes into the kitchen, says, we need to talk. I go into the kitchen. My bag of stuff is on there. An electric toothbrush I'd given her was in the bin. The ring box was on the table. And she sat down, folded arms, and said, oh, so is there anything you want to say? And I looked at all that preparation to throw me out. I went, no, you're right. 4:30 in the morning, get a cab back to my dad's, write to her family to explain that I thought she might need some support, that unfortunately hadn't worked out. But that's my tolerance. Yeah. I only do anything if I like a person.
Yeah. And with that, I just have this idea about like a lot of people stay in abusive relationships and like physical violence and verbal violence and all that. And you bring that up in your conversations with women.
Yes.
On your podcast, in your conversations. So it's like, why do you think people stay in abusive relationships? Why do they not come out of it? Why is it so important for them to be with the wrong kind of people when they have choices?
There's a lot of different information there. Right. So, number one, people don't feel they have choices. People don't feel agency. Number two, it's shown that we don't really even remember our decisions. There's a thing called confabulation, which is our inner narrative, changing the details of a story so that we come out on top. Most people are hugged as babies and have that immediate physical connection with being with a human. Yes, so if you have been hugged and loved as a natural cause, and listen, my adoptive family, very, very loving, completely peaceful, great discipline. You learn thought, not abuse. But because I wasn't picked up, I actually slightly dislike touch. So I would imagine that most people feel I am attracted to women, but the second one gets close, I start avoiding, using any tactic I can to keep it professional and above. Whereas if someone expressed an interest in you, most people would feel flattered, providing the person's not ugly. They have a story in their mind that love and relationships and life, and that's where people are aiming. They're aiming at what they're shown through entertainment.
It's about scarcity mindset also. They think that if they leave this person, they would not find another one. Or maybe,
I think so.
It's a lot of work to find another relationship.
I think so. So I think there's a fear of dying alone. So I'm lucky because I've been dead. I've been dead 5 times now. And you're always alone when you die. So that's a truth that people that have not had the opportunity to see death, you can't conceive of that.
Yeah.
If you have a mindset about relationships and love, where, I don't know, Notting Hill or Love Actually or one of these romantic comedies, you're hoping that's going to happen to you. So, you don't develop character traits as much, I don't think, unless you're challenged. It's the being broken that gives you the chance to rebuild.
Absolutely, exactly. And fear of loneliness gets us more into the relationship than wanting love, right? It's
Yeah,
like,
I think
as
so.
you said it beautifully, that fear of dying alone. And I know that. I have dated a few guys in the past, and when I asked that, what's your biggest fear? Because everywhere, like inside of me, the coach just comes up and asks questions like that. There's this fear of like, I don't want to die alone. So what does that mean? Like, once you are dead, then you are dead, right? You don't need to
Yeah.
think about anything what happens after that.
So I think that might be the reason. I don't know. And I don't judge either. People want, the whole gender fluidity and the pronouns, all this sort of stuff. So many people have just lost their shit over that. And I'm like, why does it matter to you what someone else wants to call themselves? If I know someone, I do know someone in my block of flats, and he's now called Terry. So I go, all right, Tel, how you doing? Absolutely no skin off my nose at all. And yet you've got people, and listen, trans rights, trans sports athletes. So in the UK just recently, the cricket, the tennis, and something else ruled that trans people, so from man to woman, can't play in women's sports because of the physiological benefit, the size and the what have you. That I'm quite happy with. But people going mad about, this is being shoved down our face and I go,
yeah, it's interesting. So, Jonathan, what success does look like to you?
Success looks to me like there are 3 or 4 elements, 5 or 6 elements to success to me. So the first thing I'm doing is business transformation, and that's about gender equity happening fast within 18 months, using AI to go and recruit people. Success in that environment is that I'll have 500 coaches and mentors, female, working at every level in the organization I'm targeting, and what that produces. So I have a list of things that I think should be included in the way we deal with employees. No work emails, clearly. No Stack, WhatsApp, all this crap. And people, they can't put their phone down. They don't sleep properly. They don't eat properly. They don't exercise. They don't have this. So there's a whole lot of shit that I had to do to recover from strokes that have made my brain massively powerful. So if you start without having had the strokes, what could you do? That's going to achieve business transformation. And what's going to happen is, so I see in my head the female coaches working with, so basically both men and women think that men are more intelligent. If women are the same number in the room, 10 men, 10 women, the men will shout over, steal, disregard, question the expertise, and generally ignore women. So you can't train bias. However, if a female coach or mentor is working with a man who can't get on with this idea, it's bloody women, it's positive discrimination, it's this, it's that, it's the other, they can go, okay, well, look, we're doing this change because it's better for everybody, but let me coach you. Maybe what you're looking to do is something in this industry, something better, something different, maybe get out altogether. Whatever it is that you want to achieve, we will help you do that. The men and the women that stay. So one of the things I'm going to insist upon is that everybody at every level of the company spends the first 2 hours of their day paid for by us, so they'll receive their wages. They will also be given gym memberships. personal trainers, but not as if you like to use it benefit. You will use this. We will be tracking you in your smartwatch because we want you to be physically, mentally, spiritually, absolutely aligned and purpose-driven.
Yeah.
We want to give you agency in your roles so that you can start creating value. We want to put aside time each week where you can actually just tinker with your interests and see if they align with the company. If you come up with something that's a brilliant idea, we will invest in that.
Yeah.
So what happens then is that both men and women associate over time women leadership, because the coaches and mentors are leaders, with improved work conditions. So what you do is you don't tell them what you want. You ask them on a group basis, but I can tell you that all the things have a creche. What the fuck, man? Childcare is one of the most expensive things. If I want my female workforce to actually work, I'm going to put a creche on site. There's a book called Invisible Women, where the example is Caroline Criado Perez, and she gives the example that the same space, square meters for toilets, is not equality, because women have to have stalls and they have, monthly cycles. If there are babies, there's changing going on. There's a whole host of things that a woman has to do rather than just flopping out so they can go for a wee. So if you want to be equal, you provide the stuff that allows people to be equal. You have paid paternity and maternity leave so that both the men and the women can look after the child for the first year, maybe even 18 months. All these things pay someone enough money. So here in the UK, something like 60% of the benefits expenditure goes to households with 2 working parents. The truth about the UK is that, right, I'm in North London. I've got a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom flat. To rent my flat is £1,970 a month. The average earnings, you could, if you didn't eat, move, shower, if you just died, but were still getting paid, you could afford it. But no one could afford it. To buy this flat, you'd need a £40,000 deposit, 400 odd grand. To save that, they were talking about the length of time it takes to save. It's gone up from something like a year, something like 3.5 years to save for a deposit. That benefits money goes to people because they're not getting paid enough to live in the places where they work. So teachers, doctors, firefighters, nurses, all these critical people are paid shitty wages. So they do what they do because they want to make a difference. 99.9% of all of these people are great. Obviously, there's the odd arsehole, but paying people enough to live in the area they want to is why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you increase people's pay? You motivate them through pay, but you make their life smooth. So I'm creating basically something which is like what I've created in here, but for everybody else. Things like coaches and mentors for all the staff. So you've got all this package of benefits. The coaches find out what people's goals are, aspirations, blah, blah, blah. That's all collated. We find it. So I don't know how it can. I know it can be done. I don't know the details. Someone else will do it. But basically, you take all those details, you take all the answers about what will make you a perfect life balance. If it's different from what I think in my head, great, and we'll add that to what's in my head. But I'm pretty sure that I know most of the reasons why. Have you heard of the term presenteeism? Yeah, so 90% of people are in that state.
Yeah.
People going through the motions without the feeling of agency, without the feeling of being valued, without the knowledge of the goal or the purpose or the mission of the company, of themselves. and it's just a shit
Yeah,
show.
I would say that the people are living a very unaware life where they are actually
Yeah,
not aware of what they can become, what they can get. They're just
because
living on autopilot where it's all
yes,
mechanical. They're just going to work, coming back from work, just because they have to, not because they want to. Just
no,
pay bills and live a life that society has conditioned us to live and all that. So
yeah.
basically, I think everybody needs to, and again, I would not judge anybody because it's their journey. They are somewhere in their journey. A lot has to go. They have to go through a lot of things before they come to the point where they actually become aware of the point that, okay, I can't take that anymore. I
Mm,
want to live a purpose or find a purpose for
mm.
this purpose. Like when I'm talking about purpose, that I would like to talk about this, that you so much talk about the women empowerment, and that's the purpose that you are living.
Just quickly to cap up from the last thing. So,
Yeah.
business transformation looks like that. Education transformation is these massive academies of 10,000 girls doing collaborating, building, engineering, maths, science, technology, all the crap that they don't normally see. I say crap, all the things they don't normally see themselves doing. And then the academies will be built by an all-female construction force. There are women outliers in construction.
Yeah.
There are women, mothers of children within a 10-mile radius of the academy who'll go, do you want to do a plumbing apprenticeship?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're building this,
Yeah.
we'll pay you this, we'll either provide childcare for you or let you go so you can pick your child up.
Mm-hmm.
We will work around you, but what I'm interested in doing is raising social mobility, and the only way you do that
Yeah.
is you give the money to the women, because then it comes into the economy, then the economy grows, families lift up like that. So that's what success is
Yeah.
looks like to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
It's
looks like to me.
interesting.
So
Amazing. So, talk a bit about your social Me Too movement, which is like it's empowering women, it's giving
yeah.
women a platform to talk about their abuse, injustice that they go through. So what would you like to take up? And why are you so passionate about it?
So when I first had the idea for Pote, so got onto LinkedIn. I don't have social media apart from LinkedIn. I haven't got the phone. COVID happened, chatting to people, met this woman. We were co-CEOs at the time, but she had to go off into another role. And we are just having a conversation one day. She goes, yeah, I probably get 10 requests a day
Mm-hmm.
or DM saying, "Oh, you're really beautiful. Oh, yeah, who's a?" I don't really. She goes, "Yeah." I had no idea. So I set it up. I'd heard various tales from women I spoke to. It's interesting that even the women that have been interviewed for the YouTube channel haven't left any stories. So in 4 years, there are 36 stories. Now that is pitiful. Now I got one the other day, which is I'll read you a little bit of. I wanted it to be a platform. I still want it to be a platform. Okay, this is called My Violent Journey to Recovery. I won't read it all, but I'll read some. This is the latest thing that I got sent. One day I was walking outside my residence to do something I don't remember. When I saw his face, and I thought to myself, wow, he must be lonely. He's all alone by himself. All of a sudden, I was saying, it's basically how this woman was stalked and then raped. There are some ones about fake profiles, things like that. That story, My Violent Journey to Recovery, I got about 6 months ago. I clicked down the little short conversations from social media, even though it's happening all day, every day. The women in the petrol station I go to, they're abused by drivers 10, 20, 30 times a day. So it happens all the time. Unfortunately, because it happens all the time, women have normalized it. Women tend to ask questions about themselves first and then quite obviously block and delete.
Yeah, you're
So
right.
the
They have
block and delete,
normalized it. I love that. Yeah.
yeah. And that's the reason why So I've got apparently 17,000 followers or connections rather. A lot of them are women because I'm looking to reach out to find all these coaches and mentors like you for when my plan happens. So I've got a lot of connections. People see the videos, not a story, not a story. And I had based the website on something called everyone'sinvited.uk.
Yeah.
This woman had been on there. She was talking about her in-school sexual assault. And she was on BBC Breakfast, a breakfast TV show here, and she was brought back the following week. And in that week, she got 10,000 more stories of in-school sexual assault.
Yeah.
So I went, fucking hell. Now, that site was anonymous. Socialme2.org is anonymous.
Yeah.
You haven't got to sign in, you haven't got to give an email, nothing. You just write the story, I proof check them, and then I put them up there.
Yeah.
But people aren't doing it.
I'm really proud of you for doing this because this is such a beautiful platform. And you are inviting women to talk about the trauma or assaults that they have gone through, and they're talking about it freely, and which is actually a healing journey for them. So this is such a beautiful movement, right? What you are building right now, and how can we support your work?
Right, so basically, my target is Shell, the oil and gas company, and or any of its subsidiaries. It has 27 companies under the Shell umbrella. I'm targeting that company because if you target everybody, you target nobody. So my business plans, videos, and everything are aligned for Shell based on a return on investment. So oil and gas, it's obvious we're not going to stop pumping it or mining it and all the rest of it. The situation with climate change, whether it's man-made or otherwise, I'm not going to get into a debate with someone. The planet is becoming uninhabitable for great swathes of people. So there's going to be a refugee crisis that gets worse and worse and worse as people move, and we're likely to get wetter, it turns out. So if you think immigration is bad now, you want to see it in 5 years, mate. I don't see a good outcome based on what we're currently doing. So I target Shell, 36 billion. It's profits 2023. I've got 4 or 5 scholarly articles about equality and business performance. And essentially, for every percentage towards gender equity a company gets, they get a percentage in profits. Average oil and gas company, 22%, so that's 28%. So it's basically half again. So it's between 10.4 and 19 billion if they take the approach I'm going to take to gender equity. So I'm going to say to them, look, it's not DEI, it's not about women. It's about the fact that you, my friend, are not making anywhere near as much money as you could. And it's an obligation to your stakeholders. So here's what I'm proposing. And what I'm proposing is X, Y, Z. They make a massive increase in profits straight away over the next 36 months. It pays back the entire investment I need in 3 years. So even before the first spade goes into the ground to build an academy, be spending 3 years making Shell female friendly in a very, 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 very intentional way, with all the specifics, some of which you talked about, to enable mothers to do it. Because women still do 95% of all unpaid care. Whether that's children or elderly parents or friends or teammates or subordinates, they're expected to be caring and listening and all that sort of stuff. And those expectations are unrealistic. They make women feel like they're failing because they're not doing everything they're told they can do and cannot see a way out of it. So that will only change when you shift all 3 parts together. If you work in oil and gas, if you're a woman in anything in STEM or STEAM, So STEM is science, technology, education, and maths. STEAM adds the arts, because artistic expression is being removed or compromised or censored, and it is the basis of our culture, our expression. So the people in power currently want to let companies rip us off. They want to let us be forced to go to food banks, and it's just a disgrace. Oil and gas people, the CEO of Shell or the CEO of Shell's secretary, if you reach out to me, I'm CEO at Potency-world, and I'll show you what I know. It's nothing I'm suggesting. What I've done is just take my brain, which had 18 different spheres in it, off on this one on a field of research, and then this one will produce this result. And then I do the costing for it. So I work backwards to achieve the amount of money that I've got for the entire 16 years. Or if you're an investor in Shell, speak to me.
Yeah, and people can reach out to you on LinkedIn also. You are available on LinkedIn. And thank you very much for your time, Jonathan. It was a great opportunity to know you and your brilliant mind.
Well, thank you. But as you noticed, my brilliant mind, so part of the trouble of having these multiple perspectives. So
that makes it different, right? That makes it different. And when you are not talking from your mind, you're talking from your intuition and your body, right? So this is really interesting. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you so much. You have a great day.
Now, if you have ever felt like your mind does not fit the mold, if you have ever tried to shrink yourself into a version of success that wasn't truly yours, I hope this conversation cracked something open for you. Jonathan's journey reminds us that the world does not reward the loudest voice, it rewards the clearest one. And a lot of times, the greatest disruptors are the ones who were told their thinking was wrong or dysfunctional, when it was actually rare. Thank you for listening to this episode and be a part of the Corporate Life Podcast. If you loved this episode, share it with someone who's rewriting the rules in their own quiet way. And don't forget to connect with me on LinkedIn and tell me, what are you willing to disrupt this week?